Hello and welcome to Andertons TV. My name is Jack Duxbury.
I'm Ben Champion. How you doing?
And what is this, Ben?
Ooh, it's another bundle. Behringer Modular. This is our 6U System 3555 flavoured beastly thing.
And you're going to explain what we can do with it.
Of course.
High five!
Whoa!
Yeah, man. Firstly, click on this video up here if you want to see the first bundle we did. That was under £600. This one's a touch over £1,100 as it stands. Why are we spending more money on this, and who's the type of person that's going to buy this?
There are more things, definitely. If you're really committed to the M-flavoured modular stuff, this is nearly all of what Behringer currently makes. And actually, the case on this is a pretty serious deal. This is 140 HP, horizontal pitch, width, whatever. It's a big case, power integrated. It's got a cool little kickstand. The case is a great deal, but big old sequencer. That's exciting for me. And we've got the filter bank as well. Just so you know, this corner is not included. Those are some friends for later and just for our recording purposes. But
it shows you, again, you've left some space in there.
That's always the way. I said in the previous video, we can't prescribe anything. We can't say, this is how you modular. No, we've left you a little corner so you can take it in your own direction, add whatever modules you so choose.
So what are the headlines of this?
The big fat sequencing corner is definitely one. The kind of tagline would be, all of the Behringer System 3555 stuff.
Right.
That's kind of the idea.
The whole caboodle.
Yeah, so this corner, you've got the fixed filter bank, which is a really cool tonal shaping option. The rest is quite similar to what we had before. We do have the interface, which is not what you think, but it's all here. And there's a lot of mileage, because this sequencer does so much work. It's not just a sequencer. Lots of cool things.
I don't recognise some of these. These look very new to me. Should we just do the things that we didn't cover in that other video?
Totally. We've seen these. The control voltages one will be new. This is kind of a useful tool for changing different modulation sources about, let's say, for example, you have a monosynth patch and you've got filter modulation. You could plug them all in here and you could have one switch to go, okay, now we're using an LFO just for some steady wavy modulation. We could have this one be...
Should we do it?
Yeah, we can do that. Absolutely.
Let's do it.
Let's just make
powers of editing.
Oh, here we be. A fresh patch to illustrate control voltages. We have a monosynth patch, if you will, sir. Delicious. So, we've piped in a few different sources of modulation to the top, and we can switch them in and out as we like. So the first one, we'll come back to actually, second one is just a simple LFO. So if we play... Nice one. The third one will bring a bit of our envelope in. I say a bit when I actually mean all. Let me do one. Have both. And the first one, which is quite exciting, is the sequencer.
Oh!
If you hold down a note. Delicious. So you might not think of Modular as a performance tool. I have performed with Modular. It's great fun, and that's kind of where we're at over there. What's next that we haven't seen? The fixed filter bank. So this is an audio processing tool, pretty much EQ flavored. Let's have a listen. Let me just quickly unpatch us here.
Oh, my mate.
And steals back in. So, there we go. Let's actually have that and enjoy that LFO. It does drop a bit of your volume, which is a little annoying. Get some of that back. You might detect a subtle change already, but I'm just gonna, if you watch my hands, I'm gonna get in there and start tweaking. You'll see what we can do. So very subtle, but quite a cool tonal shaping device. Really interesting when you get into feedback patching as well.
Yeah, like a parametric EQ.
I think...
Do you think of it like that or not?
I don't think they're parametric. A fixed curve.
Oh, yes,
and then
filter
just,
bank.
well, hey!
It's in the title.
But yeah, just how much of this region of frequencies do you want? That
but
kind of
non-resonant.
idea. No, I don't think it's got much resonance, if any.
Interesting. Oh, I've never seen that before.
It's quite cool. One thing that I really enjoyed doing when I had a spring reverb, unfortunately I didn't bring it today, is doing a feedback patch. So, you know, piping its own signal back in, getting these crazy howls. But if you put a filter in the middle, a resonant filter, you can actually pick the note that the feedback happens at. Buckets of reverb, that's quite a fun ambient thing to do. We might be able to do today.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Powers of editing. Powers of editing. Ben, could you tell me about this, please?
Oh, yes, I can. So, the 960 sequencer, if you go for it, outside of this bundle, definitely get the 962 little companion as well. What we've got here, 8 steps in the horizontal and 3 rows. As we illustrated earlier, you can use that for modulation, but most people know a sequencer as a pitch source for people like me who can't shred the keys like Jack. Whoa! If you have a quantizer module, then this is super fun. You can just you know, twiddle your knobs in and get melodies out.
Oh, and that'll quantize the scale, will it?
Yeah, you could go chromatic or pick a mode or a scale or something. But without, you can easily tune it against another oscillator, as we have just done. And now, using the power of a cable that will sync from our Arturia, let's get the sequence going. Added reverb because...
Lovely reverb.
It is a nice reverb. Yeah, Tip-Top Audio Z-Verb or Z-Verb, lovely stuff. And just a nice illustration of how you could expand such a system. Anyway, that was just our top row. Let me move these cables slightly for you. That was just our top row playing along there. If I start it again, you can see our little lights flashing along. We can also just pop our cable over to the second row and we've got a completely different sequence. It's in key though. Lovely stuff. We have some controls up the down bottom side, yes, down here, which will let us skip some steps just for a bit of the jammy. We can also manually pick a step to be on, and we can use the power of attach cables for a fun bit of resetting. Let's have a look at that. So there's some fun stuff you can do over there. This does have its own built-in clock, and over on the right you have 2 outputs per row. It'll be the same thing. If you have it over this X1 on the left, that'll be regular kind of pitch type range, but then you can double or quadruple the kind of range of values that you've got to play with there.
So my little layman brain there, with the 2 outputs, one could be sending, I could be sending 2 loads of those notes to 2 different places, or if it was these, I can use those for modulation values as well. So
totally,
it's spitting out quite a lot there. 6.
There is a lot. One of the more conventional ways of using that would be the second. If you're just using one row, using the second output, you could do filter tracking, which is a setting I'm sure you will have seen on a synthesizer. If we play this one. Yeah, that's going to be brighter on the higher notes. You know, that's a super standard kind of thing.
And you said about the significance of this. What is that?
That is a sequential switch, which is really fun if you're doing any kind of rhythmic modulation or wanting to get longer phrases and more musicality into modular stuff. It's often tricky because, you know, this is an 8-step sequencer, right? And music isn't just 8 or 16 steps for the rest of time. That's a recipe for boredom. But what you can do is, as we've shown you, we've programmed 2 little 8-step sequences. Let's get that out of the way. We can grab more patch cables. What I'm going to do...
Does it come with patch cables when you buy the bundle?
It does not.
How much is...
Add your patch cables yourself, because we don't know how many you need. You might have some already. It's that prescriptive thing we didn't want to do. I recommend Befaco's patch cables, which is what you're seeing here, because they come in loads of lengths. They're really good quality.
Cool. And can you buy like a starter pack from them?
Yep, we sell the ones from Moog, we sell Roland ones, we sell the tip-top stack cables, all on Andertons.co.uk.
Nice,
all lovely. So, 2 sequences, one and another.
Yep.
We grab an output from the first one and an output from the second one. We then hop over to our sequential switch, and you see we've got signal in, 1, 2 and 3, a single output, and these triggery somethings over here. Let's plug these in. Let's go first sequence to 1, second sequence to 2, and then this is the cable we were using for pitch, but that's a little short, so the output is going to go to our oscillator. Now we can do this manually, so I'm going to press these buttons as the sequence goes. So now we have A-B sequences, but we want a 16-stepper. We can do that. These little outputs over here, it sends a signal once we reach this step, right? So we can go to our trigger input,
what a great way of explaining it. Yeah,
shift input, which will just kind of cycle through. If you go for a trigger, it will just, you know, trigger one of the inputs. Shift just cycles through.
Okay.
Pop that into our last step.
So when it hits that one, it's going to shift over to the next one.
Exactly. Keep an eye on these LEDs, folks.
Clever.
We've still got room for some modulation. So it's not human expression, of course, but it does add some movement and life to these kind of sequences.
You see why Ben is here, mate. You're so good at this.
Oh, thank you. Lots of good stuff.
And then we said we were using this interface. What's this? Why are we not using this interface?
Interface and interface. I called that an interface, audio interface. It interfaces us with the regular audio world. That is easiest to think of as just a mixer, really.
And you explained in the other video, like we said before, it comes out quite hot, this modular signal, right? So you need this to get it out into recorders.
It's not vital, because most mixers will have a pad and normally you can kind of get there, but sometimes really handy. This one has parametric EQ over the output, 4 inputs with pan, so you can do stereo stuff here, nice sort of level faders. A really cool utility as well is little tuning oscillator at 220, 440 and 880 hertz. Getting your concert pitch, because of course you're playing this with an orchestra. You've got a little bypass thing for the EQ, and you can use the EQ separately because you've got kind of outputs and an input. Headphone interface on
a
here.
Separate level.
Yep, super handy. That's a really great one. That's from the R flavoured series of Behringer modular stuff. Video coming soon.
That's cool, right? So why is this different?
This interface is quite a big module that's quite niche as well, but we mentioned in our previous video about this S-Trig V-Trig thing. So you press a key, nice, and you want a gate to happen, you want a note to happen. In the modern world, the conventional world thinking is press the key, voltage goes up. Makes sense. In the vintage M-flavoured world, it was the opposite, and that just makes things not work very well. So what we've got here is S-Trig in, V-Trig out, so you can do a little conversion. You've got a couple of banks of that. What's also quite cool is you've got an audio to V-Trig. In the M-flavoured modular world, they use both. So S-Trig is going to be envelopes and things like that, and V will be kind of clocking. They sort of wanted to differentiate that and made it a pain for everybody else. But then you've got audio to V-Trig, so that historically would be put a click on the tape. Yeah. There's that Daft Punk tune with the bit, the intro. How does it go? I knew the sound of the future was the synthesizer. We put a click on the 8-track. Yeah, and that's how they would have synchronized a modular with a tape back in daily. So that's kind of handy these days as well if you want to do that. And we've also got V-Trig in, S-Trig out, so you can go both ways. So if you're really invested in the M-flavoured Behringer modular, that can be really handy if you've got other Euro-rack to interface with.
So is this a recreation of an old unit, or did they...
Exactly.
Oh, right, so they kind of knew back then that people would want to flip things around.
Totally. In the modern Euro-rack world, it's quite cool to be able to use the square output of an oscillator as a clock source, and also trigger envelopes. The modern way of the intermingling of control voltages is quite handy.
I get that, because a square is essentially something going on and off anyway.
That's it. It's just on and off. And with that, it's actually just a difference in polarity. So if you want to make your own cables, you can easily just kind of swap them around. It works nicely.
One last bit I want to... Well, I'm presuming this is the last bit because we've gone through it as wicked. It's just this case.
Yeah.
It looks posh. What are the merits of this case, and why is it... Does it come with the power in there?
Yeah. Big old power supply inside. You can't see it at the moment because all of the kind of power distribution is underneath this top row. You've got a bunch of connectors, shrouded connectors, so it's the good stuff. That's packed under here. You've got an external power brick you might be able to see over the back. It's this slightly angled thing, which I personally really like. It does have a kickstand, so you can have it at an angle. I won't move it now because we're all set up. And it's got a little handle, so it's quite portable, and it's just so affordable. Let me go to the internet quickly because I can't remember prices.
Do you get covers on things like this or not? Am I being silly?
It doesn't come with one. I imagine there's a deck saver in the future because it's quite similar to other case designs. Cool. So this case, 2 rows of 140 HP, which is massive in the modular world, for the low price of 229 Great British Spondoodles.
Now, before Behringer got in the game, what were we looking at for something that was the same?
The closest competitor would be the tip-top Mantis, which looks visually very similar. It's shorter, it's only 104 HP, similar in terms of power, and it has the kickstand and things as well. That's over £300 most places.
Right.
So you get more for your money and you pay less as well. So it's like I said, incredible value, this one.
And bundled up, it's a good deal as well. Awesome, man. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what we do, consider subscribing. If you don't, let us know in the comments. Ben, hopefully you'll be here more often as these come into stock, right?
So we're just waiting on a few of the R-flavoured ones, and then we'll have another video actually it'll be in the same case, but with a different flavour
and
synth
let
module.
Ben, anyone who's interested in there, please leave in the comment section what you might want to see from Ben, because you can see he's very knowledgeable about it.
Too kind.
And you are, man. And I learn every time you come in here. So we're going to jam out. Thanks for watching, guys. High five, man.